好，我是叶嘉丽，我是喜家堡爱金国区的国会议员。欢迎大家来到我的选区，以接部长、一名部长。希望大家喜欢今天的下午茶。谢谢大家来参加。So I'd like to welcome you all to Scarborough Aging Court. I'm Jean Yip. I'm the Member of Parliament for this riding, and I'm very pleased to have the Minister of Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship, Ahmed Hussen, here. And I just want to mention that he is also the MP for York South-Weston, and that he came to Canada as a refugee in 1993. Not too long, right? And he was very active in the community with the 15,000 residents of the Regent Park community. He is the recipient of the Queen's Gold Medal for Leadership, and as the first Canadian Somali MP and Minister, he has worked tirelessly to improve the immigration system to better serve the interests of Canadians. So immigration is vital to Canada, with almost 70% of our population with immigrant ties. We here in Scarborough Aging Court have one of the most diverse ridings in Toronto. And our future prosperity depends on immigration, and as our population ages, Scarborough Aging Court is an example of how immigration has strengthened our diversity and our economy. And on that note, I'm going to ask that the Minister say a few remarks.
It's great to be back here to join Jean Yip, your Member of Parliament for Scarborough Aging Court, for another discussion with the Chinese Canadian media about the priorities of our government. It's really important for us to continue this discussion and discuss the issues that are important to the community here in Scarborough Aging Court and around the Greater Toronto area. I want to highlight a few things. Number one, I'm proud of the fact that as a government, our Liberal government led by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, we have kept our promises to fix the immigration system. We inherited an immigration system that was quite frankly broken. We had long wait times for family reunification. We had huge backlogs in different streams within the immigration system. We also had an immigration system that was not working at its fullest capacity to help employers and businesses and communities to attract the best and the brightest to fill unfilled jobs, but to also come to Canada to create jobs for and help us grow our economy. So we listen to those employers, we listen to those communities, and we listen to Canadian families, and we've delivered an immigration system that has reunited more families than ever before. We have improved the wait times for the spousal sponsorship program and many other family reunification programs. We have delivered for Canada a smart economic immigration system that is leading the world in attracting talent and investment to Canada. A few days ago, I received a report from the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. This is a group that represents 36 of the most highly industrialized countries in the world, and they did a study of our skilled economic immigration system for the last number of years, and they came to the conclusion in the report that Canada's skilled economic immigration system is the best in the world, and that other countries should adopt our system. And they particularly praised our express entry program. They said that program allows Canada to attract the kinds of skills that are needed for the particular shortages in our labor market. And they said that program was flexible enough to change it around every once in a while to meet the particular needs of our economy at that time. And they thought that was pretty smart. We, of course, look forward to going back to Canadians to earn their trust in October. We have built We have built a policy, government policies based on investing in communities, investing in Canadians, investing in transit and housing and seniors and young people. And Scarborough Aging Court, of course, has seen some of those real changes, real positive changes that have occurred on the ground here in Scarborough. So welcome. Thank you.
So the question now?
Yes?
Okay.
Any questions?
A bank executive told me yesterday, so Canada is planning to have 1 million in population growth for the next few years.
Yes.
All right? And most of the 1 million people will be immigrants. All right?
Yes.
So my concern is that Canada is really attractive to most countries, like especially like in Hong Kong, many applications may come in. But the point is that when they come to Canada, do we have enough jobs and good jobs for them?
Okay, so number one, let me make one thing absolutely clear. The immigration levels that we have planned for the next 3 years have been announced after extensive consultations and discussions with employers, with businesses, with communities, with municipalities, and with settlement agencies and provinces. They're the ones who have asked us to introduce responsible growth in our immigration system, to attract workers to fill unfilled jobs, and to attract skilled immigrants to create jobs for Canadians. If you talk to provinces in Canada, they will tell you that they need more immigrants to fill the labor market shortages. We are experiencing the lowest unemployment rate in 40 years. So many businesses from coast to coast to coast, when you talk to them in large cities, in small communities, a lot of businesses just cannot find the workers that they need. So it's becoming a big challenge. There's thousands and thousands of jobs that are not being filled. And so when they cannot, of course our first priority is to hire Canadians, but when that is simply not possible, it is important to allow employers in Canada to bring in through immigration the labor that they need. But also to allow skilled immigrants to come in and create jobs for Canadians. That's in our benefit. And make no mistake about it, we never increase the immigration levels unless we also increase the funding to support their integration into Canada. So it's a very responsible and gradual increase. This year we plan to welcome 330,000 permanent residents. Next year, 341,000 permanent residents, and the year after that, 350,000 permanent residents. The majority of those people are coming through the skilled economic class. And second largest group is the family reunification, spousal sponsorships and others. So when you look at the percentage of economic skilled immigration as part of our larger immigration system this year, 60% will be in the skilled economic immigration class. By 2021, that number will rise to 72%. So 72% of the incoming group in for 350,000 permanent residents in that year, 72% of them will be skilled immigrants who are coming, again, to fill unfilled jobs, but also to create jobs for Canadians. I have seen so many examples where skilled immigrants come and start companies and create jobs for Canadians, create more prosperity for our companies and for our economy. And I can tell you this, when small, medium and large businesses cannot find the labor that they need, they cannot grow, they cannot get new contracts. So this is a big challenge in our country. We have a shortage of labor all across different levels of skills, from low skilled labor to intermediate skilled labor to high skilled labor. But our government has responded by introducing the Global Skills Strategy, which has resulted in thousands of the most highly skilled people to come into Canada. They have created over 60,000 jobs. 25% of them are coming from the United States. So we're gaining brains from the United States. The express entry system is working very well. So immigration continues to be a big source of strength for Canada, and the OECD report confirms that.
That's right. And also, we are very meticulous in our screening process.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why we're able to have such a successful global skills program. And one of the labor shortages that we have is the personal support workers.
Yes.
And right now, there is a caregiver program.
Yes.
That is a pilot program, I believe. I think there's 3 different...
2 different streams. So essentially what we've done is, caregivers provide a very good service to our communities. They help raise, care for our children. They also help with our seniors. And for a long time, caregivers could not even reunite with their own family members. It was taking 7 to 8 years to reunite caregivers with their own family members. And a lot of them did not have access to permanent residency. We're changing that. We have completely we got rid of family separation. Under the new caregiver system that we brought in through our leadership, caregivers will be able to bring their spouse and their children to Canada. So there will be no more family separation. And after 2 years of working as a caregiver in Canada, they can apply for permanent residency. So that's a very important point. Sorry, go ahead.
But why next year the caregiver program will be dramatically reduced? Only less than half of caregivers will be accepted as new immigrants.
That's not correct. In fact, the 2 pilot programs,
5,000 only.
It's 5,400 principal applicants, but that doesn't include their family as well. And based on our analysis, so far, because you have to understand the 2 pilot programs we've introduced, we already had tested them and we assessed their capacity to be filled, and we're very confident that those numbers, that cap will not even be reached. And if it is reached, I will address it at that time, but based on our current projections, we don't believe that that space will be filled completely. So I'm not concerned that that cap is too small. I actually think it's adequate for the demand.
Yeah. But this year's cap is 14,000.
No, I think what you're referring to is because we also created an interim pathway for some of the people who were caught in limbo from the old program and under the living caregiver program. That's a separate temporary pathway, but these 2 new pilots will ensure that caregivers will be assessed for their qualification to become caregivers, but also how much human capital that they have to become future permanent residents before they get to Canada. And so I'm very confident that the 2 streams that we've introduced, the caps under those 2 streams will not be filled. And I'm confident based on our analysis and on the landscape of the people who are interested in coming to Canada to become caregivers.
And also with the labor shortages in the Atlantic provinces, they're very, very welcoming to immigration.
Yes, we have, this is the 3rd year of the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program. That program has resulted in an increase in the retention of skilled immigrants who have chosen to stay in Atlantic Canada. For example, in Nova Scotia, before our government came into power, only 60% of skilled immigrants stayed in Nova Scotia after first landing there, compared to in Ontario, where 94% of skilled immigrants would stay in Ontario after landing in Ontario. After this, the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program was introduced by our government, led by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and that program focuses on retention of skilled immigrants. We've seen that the retention rate has gone up from 60% to 90%. That's a 30% increase. You see the same 30% increase in Prince Edward Island, in New Brunswick, and you see the economy. The small businesses and medium businesses are very, very happy with the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program. We've seen thousands of skilled people coming and settling with their families in Atlantic Canada. And the lesson we've learned from that program, we're now applying it to the new rural program, Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program that we've announced for the rest of the country.
You had a question?
Yes.
Yes. You just mentioned that for the AIPP program, you just extended from end of this year to
from 3 years to 5 years. Yes.
So that means very successful for this program for all the Atlantic province.
Yes, absolutely. It's been quite successful. businesses. This is the first immigration program in Canadian history that is led by the employers. The employers go out and they recruit any worker that they need for their local economic needs. And we do the immigration processing. That's it. It's very expedited, it's very simple. It's not a temporary foreign worker program. It's a permanent residency program. 6 months processing, and it also includes the family. So people are very happy with it. It is injecting a lot of economic contribution to the Atlantic Canadian economies. It is improving the retention rate, as I said, and it is also resulting in revitalization of communities, because they're not only attracting a skilled immigrant, but they're also bringing the family. So the children are going to school, the spouse is either getting another job or opening a business. So you're seeing more
Indirect
economic benefits through the Atlantic Immigration Program.
And we mustn't forget about the international students.
Yes, international students, we will continue to welcome them. We encourage, we know that some of them will go back after they finish their education in Canada, but we also encourage those who would like to stay and work and live in Canada. We encourage them to do that. We are the government that has introduced more points for international students under the express entry system. We have allowed them to access the postgraduate work permit, which is valid for 3 years. We are marketing more of them to come to Canada.
At different countries.
For different countries as well. And we appreciate their contribution to the Canadian economy. International students contribute $15 billion to our economy every single year.
You're talking about international students.
Yes.
As we know, the relationship between China and Canada has been a little bit tense recently. Do you think that what will happen to the number of international students coming
Look,
to Canada
we welcome.
from China?
Look, our relationship with China, and I know Jean is going to add something to this. Our relationship with China is a long historical relationship. We may have some difficulties from time to time, but we have a very long relationship based on a historical relationship. And we welcome tourism from China, we welcome investment from China, we welcome two-way trade, and we welcome international students from China. And they form a big percentage of the overall number of international students coming to Canada.
And they are safe here.
Absolutely, we welcome them, we allow them to work.
Education system.
They will,
We have a safe and secure economy.
Yes.
Right?
And welcoming community.
Yeah, but the numbers show that international students from India has already surpassed the number from China.
But in absolute numbers, the number of international students from China has actually risen. It may be true that the number of international students from India has increased more than the number of students from China, but the fact is, in isolation, the numbers of students from China is actually higher than last year, which is a good sign. So it continues to be a popular destination for international students from China.
I believe it's 140,000 international students.
It's almost a third
Yeah.
of our...
So that's quite a lot. And so that tells me that they're feeling comfortable with our education system, with our economy,
with our welcoming community.
with our welcoming community.
One more question for the express entry.
Yes.
Initially, you just said the express entry run for several years. Right now, it's very good and very smooth for
Yes.
international students and also for like international skilled workers.
Yes.
But as you know, right now the express score is very high.
Yes.
More than 250 or even higher. This score is even for some international students, if they just study in college in Canada, maybe if they don't have outside or experience outside Canada, it's still a big challenge for this student to achieve like 450 or more. And also for some international skilled workers, if they don't have the experience education in Canada or working experience in Canada, it's really big challenge for these skilled workers. So, do you have any comments?
Yes, I do. Look, one of the things that the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development said in their report, and I encourage all of you to read that report. It's an amazing analysis and review of our immigration system, especially our skilled immigration system. one of the things that they said, and they commended Canada for, is that the express entry system, they said, is flexible enough to always adjust to local economic needs. And they're absolutely right. The express entry score goes up and down depending on the pool. So sometimes your score may be too low to become successful. In other pools, you may actually get in, depending on the pool. And that's why people stay in the pool, right? But the second thing is the Canadians expect the federal skilled worker program, which is the express entry system, to attract the best from the world. So 450 points is, I think, a fair number. We are giving more points to international students, and we're giving more points to those who have family members in Canada. So I think that's we've moved to accommodate them, but at some point we also have to hope that they will bring enough human capital to reach those points. And if they're a little bit short, they have two options. One is to try again in the next pool, or to apply for other economic immigration streams, such as the provincial nominee program, which has, of course, lower points. And we've increased the provincial nominee program spaces by 33%, because the provinces had asked us to do that. So they have that option, and they can also apply through the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program.
Okay, thank you. One more question.
Yeah.
Yes, you just mentioned this provincial nomination program. Yes.
Yes.
As we know, yes, for other provinces, yes, it's very good, and every year it's amount is good. But for Ontario, it's sad. You know, it's for we have so many like graduate, postgraduate students, like the master and the PhD, and they every year they have to spend lots of time to focus on when the OIMP will be open. It's really difficult for them, maybe when after they graduate within 2 years to apply the PMP. Yes.
Yes.
The number is very, very limited for Ontario.
Yes. Like many other economic skilled immigration programs, the Ontario immigrant nominee program is very popular, and that's a good thing. That's a sign that Canada continues to be a very preferable destination for skilled immigrants, for people who are doing graduate studies, and we welcome them. Anything that we can do to work with Ontario to increase the numbers, to improve the processing times, we're more than happy to do that. But as you know, the provincial nominee program is really under the control of the provinces. They get to determine how many nominations they make and so on. But we work very closely together, and I'm confident that any challenges with that program, we can easily work together to solve them. Okay. Well, thank you very much, unless Jean has something to add.
Just to say that immigration is important for Canada. It's a healthy way to go about finding very good people to make our country grow, and also to really show that what an open and welcoming country we are.
One thing I want to finish with is that as an aging population, we need immigration. We need immigration to sustain our labor market, to sustain our standard of living, to support our pension system and our health system and so on, and our retirement. And at the end of the day, we have the tools and we have the experience as a country to invest in settlement and integration services to ensure that those newcomers who come can quickly integrate and contribute to Canada. So the system that we have is the envy of the world, and it is working very well for Canada. And that's not just us saying that, but the OECD is saying that in an independent report. So what I will say is that there's a lot of fear-mongering and misinformation about our immigration system by some political parties. And the important thing is to fight that fear-mongering with facts. The fact is, immigration is working well in Canada, and everyone can see that. So it's important to fight the misinformation with facts. The fact is, immigration is a big part of job creation in Canada. Immigration is a big part of the population growth in Canada. Immigration helps us to meet and fill the shortages of labor in Canada. Immigration helps us to bring skilled immigrants to create jobs in Canada. Immigration helps us to spread the benefits of economic and skilled immigration to rural parts of Canada. Immigration has helped us to revitalize communities all across Canada. And those are facts. That's not an opinion, it's facts and figures and evidence. And I would hope that as members of the media that you are able to share those facts and that record of family reunification and economic success through immigration to fight the fear-mongering that is out there and the anti-immigration messages we're getting from outside of Canada coming into our country. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. 谢谢。